The man standing beneath the crystal chandeliers looked like he had everything. Wealth followed his name. Power followed his decisions. Influence followed his footsteps. Yet behind his calm expression lived a loneliness so deep that even luxury could not hide it. 30-year-old Andre Okoro was known across the country as a business prodigy. Newspapers praised him, investors trusted him, competitors feared him. His name carried weight before he even entered a room. People admired the life he seemed to have built. They saw the private jets, the luxury vehicles, and the endless opportunities. What they never saw was the cage hidden beneath the gold. The Okoro estate stood on vast grounds surrounded by gates and security. From a distance it looked like a dream. Glass walls reflected the morning sun, marble halls stretched endlessly, every detail spoke of success. Yet Andre often felt like a prisoner inside those beautiful walls. His days followed the same pattern. Every morning began before sunrise. Every hour had a purpose. Every decision was monitored. Freedom was something other people enjoyed. At breakfast, silence often filled the enormous dining room. The table could seat dozens, yet only 3 chairs were occupied. Andre sat across from his parents. His father, Samuel Okoro, ruled both his family and business empire with unwavering discipline. His approval was rare and valuable. His disappointment could crush a person's confidence within seconds. Andre's mother, Vanessa, carried power differently. Her voice remained soft, but her influence reached everywhere. Together, they had built a dynasty. Andre was expected to protect it. One morning, his father lowered a report and fixed him with a sharp stare. Andre had arrived 1 minute later than expected. That single minute became a discussion about responsibility and discipline. It was not anger that exhausted Andre, it was the constant pressure. Every conversation became a reminder that his life belonged to something larger than himself. As breakfast continued, his mother calmly reviewed the day's obligations. Investor meetings filled the afternoon. A formal dinner occupied the evening. At the mention of the dinner, Andre's stomach tightened. The event involved one person he could never avoid. Her name was Victoria Monroe. Victoria came from one of the country's most influential families. She was intelligent, graceful, and admired by everyone who met her. For years, their families had quietly prepared them for marriage. To outsiders, they looked perfect together. Photographers loved them. Society praised them. Business leaders celebrated the future alliance. Yet Andre could never ignore the truth hidden beneath the perfection. He respected Victoria deeply, but respect was not love. That evening, the grand ballroom glowed beneath golden light. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above elegantly dressed guests. Music drifted through the room. Conversations flowed effortlessly between politicians, executives, and social leaders. Every smile seemed practiced. Every movement seemed calculated. Andre moved through the crowd with effortless confidence, yet inside he felt disconnected from everything around him. When Victoria approached, she looked stunning. Her confidence matched the elegance surrounding her. She greeted him warmly and immediately noticed the distance behind his eyes. She asked whether he ever grew tired of these endless appearances. Andre admitted he often did. For a brief moment, honesty replaced formality. Victoria confessed that she viewed their obligations differently. She believed responsibility mattered more than personal desire. Andre admired her conviction, but it only reminded him how different they truly were. Later, during dinner, the conversation shifted toward the future. Their parents discussed partnerships, influence, and long-term plans. Eventually, the topic everyone expected finally arrived: marriage. The room grew quiet as attention settled on Andre. The decision had been discussed for years, yet hearing it spoken aloud felt suffocating. Andre carefully explained that he needed more time. The response was immediate. Disappointment filled the room. Questions followed. His father challenged him. Victoria's family exchanged concerned glances. Only Victoria seemed to understand the conflict behind his words. She calmly defended his caution, preventing the discussion from becoming a confrontation. For that small act, Andre felt grateful. That night, he stood alone inside his bedroom overlooking the city. Thousands of lights stretched into the darkness below. Cars moved through distant streets. Life continued beyond the walls of the estate. For the first time in years, Andre admitted something he had never fully faced. Despite everything he possessed, something important was missing. His mother later entered the room and reminded him that his life carried responsibilities. She spoke gently, yet her words felt heavy. When Andre questioned whether the life chosen for him truly belonged to him, she struggled to answer. Eventually, she repeated the lesson he had heard since childhood. Personal desires mattered less than family obligations. After she left, silence returned. Andre loosened his tie and stared into the night. The city below seemed alive in ways he could not understand. Somewhere beyond the boardrooms, expectations, and carefully planned future, a different life existed. A simpler life, a real life. Sleep eventually arrived, but peace did not. Questions filled his mind. Questions about freedom, questions about happiness, questions about who he truly was beneath the weight of his family's legacy. He had no idea that those questions would soon lead him far from luxury and power. He had no idea that a single act of kindness from a woman living a completely different life would change everything he believed about love, sacrifice, and destiny. As dawn slowly approached beyond the mansion windows, Andre sensed that something unexpected was waiting for him somewhere in the city. He did not know her name yet. He did not know her story. But before long, a waitress named Amara would walk into his life and alter his future forever. The city never truly slept. Even after midnight, traffic lights flashed across busy intersections, food vendors served late customers, and distant music drifted through warm evening air. Life moved constantly, yet Andre often felt separated from it all, as though he were watching the world through a glass wall. The morning after the royal dinner felt heavier than usual. He followed his routine without enthusiasm. His workout felt mechanical. Breakfast felt colder. The conversation around the table focused entirely on schedules and responsibilities. No one mentioned the tension from the previous evening. Somehow, that silence felt worse. By noon, Andre sat inside a towering corporate building surrounded by executives discussing investments worth millions. Large screens displayed charts and projections. Advisors exchanged opinions. Assistants entered and exited the conference room carrying reports. Normally, this environment energized him. Today, every word sounded distant. An investor eventually paused and looked directly at him. Everyone else followed. They were waiting for his decision. Andre glanced at the presentation without truly seeing it. His thoughts were somewhere else entirely. He approved the proposal and the meeting continued. Yet he no longer felt connected to the conversation. Hours later, frustration finally outweighed responsibility. Instead of returning home or attending another formal gathering, Andre did something unusual. He drove himself. No chauffeur, no security team, no assistants, just him and the open road. At first, he remained within familiar districts, filled with luxury stores and office towers. Gradually, the scenery changed. Expensive buildings gave way to smaller businesses. Bright commercial displays became warm storefront lights. People laughed openly on sidewalks. Children chased each other between neighborhood shops. Street musicians filled the air with melodies that sounded honest and alive. Andre lowered his window and allowed the sounds of the city to enter. For the first time that day, he felt himself breathing more freely. The farther he traveled from his usual world, the lighter he felt. Then he noticed it. A small restaurant sat quietly between a pharmacy and a fabric store. Nothing about it appeared remarkable. The sign was simple. The building was modest. Warm light glowed through the windows. Most people in his position would have driven past without noticing. Yet something about the place drew his attention. Before he could overthink it, he parked. Inside, the atmosphere immediately felt different from everything he knew. No marble floors, no chandeliers, no carefully arranged displays of wealth. Wooden tables filled the room, soft conversations mixed with the aroma of freshly prepared food. A television played quietly in one corner, while customers enjoyed their meals without concern for status or appearance. Andre stepped inside and received a few curious glances. His expensive clothing and confident posture made him stand out immediately. Still, nobody rushed over to impress him. Nobody treated him differently. That alone felt refreshing. A gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. Good evening. Andre turned, and for the first time he saw her. Amara stood nearby holding a small notepad. Her uniform was simple and practical. Her hair was neatly pulled back. She wore no extravagant jewelry and no heavy makeup. Yet none of those details captured his attention. It was her eyes. They carried a warmth he rarely encountered, a sincerity that seemed untouched by calculation. She smiled politely and asked whether he needed a table. For a brief moment, Andre forgot to answer. Then he nodded. Amara guided him toward a seat near the window and handed him a menu. Her movements were calm and effortless. She did not linger. She did not attempt to impress him. She simply did her job and moved on. Andre found himself watching her as she worked. She laughed with customers, helped elderly guests, moved quickly without appearing rushed. Every interaction seemed genuine. Nothing felt rehearsed. When she returned to take his order, he realized he had not looked at the menu. Instead, he asked what she recommended. Amara studied him for a second before responding. That depends. Andre raised an eyebrow. On what? She smiled slightly. Are you hungry or are you tired? The question caught him completely off guard. Nobody had asked him something so simple in a very long time. After a moment, he answered honestly. Tired. Amara nodded as though she understood more than he had said. Then you need something comforting. Without another question, she disappeared into the kitchen. Andre leaned back and found himself smiling. People usually asked for his approval before making decisions. Amara had simply trusted her judgment. Strangely, he liked that. The meal arrived shortly afterward. The food was simple, nothing extravagant. Yet the aroma alone reminded him how hungry he truly was. He took a bite and immediately understood why people filled the restaurant. It tasted like care, not luxury, not prestige. Care. For the next hour, Andre remained longer than necessary. The peaceful atmosphere felt addictive. The conversations around him sounded authentic. Nobody expected anything from him. For once, he could simply exist. Eventually, he reached for his wallet, then froze. His pocket was empty. He checked again. Nothing. His jacket pockets offered no solution. A realization hit him. He had left his wallet behind. Andre stared at the table in disbelief. This had never happened before. Not once. Embarrassment crept into his chest. Reluctantly, he approached the counter where Amara was organizing receipts. He explained the situation as calmly as possible. A nearby manager immediately looked suspicious. Promises about returning later clearly sounded familiar. Andre felt irritation rising. He was not accustomed to being doubted. Before he could respond, Amara quietly reached into her pocket. I'll cover it. The word stunned him. Both men stared at her. Andre immediately protested. She simply shook her head. The manager hesitated before accepting the money. Andre looked at her in disbelief. You don't even know me. Amara shrugged gently. You were honest. That's enough. Her answer struck him harder than he expected. No conditions, no expectations, no hidden motives, just kindness, pure and uncomplicated. Andre thanked her sincerely and promised to return the following day. Amara smiled. I'll be here. Outside, the night air felt different, cooler, sharper. Andre stood beside his vehicle and looked back through the restaurant window. Amara was already helping another customer. She had moved on without expecting gratitude, yet he could not stop thinking about her. As he drove away, one thought remained fixed in his mind. Tomorrow was no longer another day filled with obligations. Tomorrow had become something he was actually looking forward to, and for the first time in years, that realization made him smile. What Andre did not know was that this simple promise to return would soon become the beginning of a connection powerful enough to challenge wealth, family, destiny, and everything he thought he understood about life. Andre barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he found himself thinking about Amara. It was not because of her appearance, though she was beautiful in a natural and effortless way. It was because of what she had done. In a world where every favor carried a hidden cost, she had helped a complete stranger without expecting anything in return. That simple act stayed with him. By morning, he had already made up his mind. He was going back. Breakfast unfolded exactly as it always did. His father reviewed reports. His mother discussed appointments. The conversation revolved around schedules, partnerships, and obligations. Andre barely listened. When his mother mentioned another formal dinner involving Victoria and their families, he surprised them both. "Cancel it." The room fell silent. His father slowly lowered his newspaper. "Cancel it?" Andre nodded. His father frowned. "You do not cancel important engagements because of personal feelings." For once, Andre did not back down. "Maybe I do." The tension became immediate. His father viewed the statement as rebellion. Andre viewed it as honesty. Without continuing the argument, he excused himself from the table. Later that afternoon, instead of attending social events, he found himself driving toward the familiar neighborhood. The restaurant appeared exactly as he remembered. Warm lights, simple surroundings, a sense of peace he could not find anywhere else. As soon as he stepped inside, his eyes searched the room automatically. Then he saw her. Amara moved between tables, carrying plates and greeting customers. When she noticed him, recognition immediately appeared in her eyes. A genuine smile followed. "You came back." Andre smiled. "I said I would." "Most people say that." Her playful tone made him laugh. "Few actually do." He reached into his pocket and removed the money he owed her. Amara glanced down, then looked back up. "That's too much." Andre had intentionally included extra money as a gesture of gratitude. Amara pushed the additional bills back toward him. "You only owe me for one meal. The rest is appreciation." "I don't need appreciation, just fairness." Andre stared at her. Nobody had ever rejected extra money so casually, especially not someone working as hard as she clearly did. Yet there was no pride in her voice, only dignity. Slowly he separated the exact amount and handed it to her. Amara nodded approvingly. "Now that's fair." Andre laughed softly. "You're unusual." She raised an eyebrow. "I was about to say the same thing about you." Instead of leaving after paying, Andre asked if he could stay. Amara glanced toward the menu. "Only if you're ordering something." He smiled. "Then I suppose I'll need another meal." Throughout the afternoon, their conversations gradually became easier, natural, comfortable, unlike the carefully controlled discussions that dominated his everyday life. When business slowed, Amara stopped by his table. "You don't seem like someone who forgets things." Andre admitted she was right, so yesterday must have been special, in more ways than one. Amara studied him curiously. "How so?" Andre hesitated. "Because I'm not used to being helped." The answer surprised her. "Everyone needs help sometimes. Not like that." "What do you mean, without expecting anything back?" Amara seemed confused. "That's just kindness." Andre slowly shook his head. "No, that's rare." For a moment, silence settled between them. Not awkward, thoughtful. Eventually, Amara changed the subject. "So what exactly do you do?" Andre immediately felt trapped. Normally he would answer without hesitation, yet revealing who he really was risked changing everything. He had experienced it countless times. The moment people learned his identity, their behavior changed. Conversations became careful, friendliness became ambition, honesty disappeared, so he gave the simplest answer possible. "I work." Amara laughed. "That's not an answer." "I manage things." "Things?" "Yes." She folded her arms. "You're avoiding the question, and you're very observant." "I have to be. It's part of the job." Andre smiled. "I run a business. That sounds more believable." Then he asked about her. Amara glanced around the restaurant. "This is pretty much my life. No bigger dreams?" Her expression changed slightly. Not sad, not bitter, just honest. "Dreams are expensive." The answer hit Andre harder than expected. He had spent his entire life surrounded by opportunities. For him, dreams had always felt possible. For Amara, they seemed like luxuries. After a few moments, Andre asked another question. "Why did you help me?" Amara looked genuinely confused. "Help you? Pay for my meal?" She shrugged. "You needed help. You didn't know that." "I could tell." "How?" "You looked embarrassed." Andre laughed. "That's accurate." "And besides," she smiled softly, "it felt like the right thing to do." There it was again. That simplicity, that honesty. No hidden agenda, no complicated reasoning. Just kindness because kindness felt right. The concept fascinated him. In his world, every decision served a purpose. Every action created an advantage. Every relationship involved strategy. Amara's world seemed completely different. "You're thinking too much." Her observation interrupted his thoughts. "Am I that obvious?" "Very. What gives me away?" "You get this look." "What look?" "Like you're trying to solve something that doesn't need solving." Andre laughed harder than he had in weeks. "Maybe you're right. I usually am." The confidence in her voice made him smile again. Hours passed without either of them noticing. Eventually, the restaurant began preparing to close. Andre stood and gathered his things. For reasons he could not fully explain, he felt disappointed to leave. As he reached the entrance, Amara called after him. "Will you come back?" The question sounded casual, yet something beneath it felt important. Andre looked at her. "Yes." Amara smiled. "Good." Outside, evening shadows stretched across the street. Andre paused beside his vehicle and looked back through the window. She was already helping clean tables, focused, determined, completely unaware of how much she occupied his thoughts. As he drove home, one truth became impossible to ignore. He had returned to repay a debt. Instead, he had discovered something far more valuable. And somewhere deep inside, a feeling he had never expected was beginning to take shape. Neither of them knew it yet, but a single question remained waiting beneath every conversation. What would happen when Amara finally discovered who Andre really was? Andre began returning to the restaurant far more often than he intended. At first, he convinced himself it was simply a convenient place to eat. Then he told himself he enjoyed the atmosphere. Eventually, even he stopped pretending. He was coming back because of Amara. Whenever business meetings became exhausting, he found himself thinking about the restaurant. Whenever family expectations became overwhelming, he thought about her smile. Whenever his future felt like a prison, he remembered the peace he felt sitting across from her. His visits gradually became part of his routine. The staff noticed. Amara noticed. Even Andre noticed. Still, neither of them spoke openly about it. Their conversations remained light at first. "What will you have today?" "The usual." "You don't seem like someone who likes routines." "Maybe I'm learning." Small exchanges slowly turned into longer discussions. Andre asked unusual questions. Questions most people never thought to ask. "What makes you happy after a difficult day?" "What scares you most?" "What would you do if money didn't matter?" At first, Amara laughed at him. "You ask strange questions." Andre smiled. "You give interesting answers." Eventually, she began answering honestly. "I like quiet mornings, before the world becomes noisy." Andre nodded. "What scares you?" Amara became thoughtful. "Losing the little I have." The answer stayed with him. Then came his favorite question. "What would you do if money didn't matter?" Amara surprised him. She didn't mention travel, she didn't mention luxury, she didn't mention fame. Instead, she quietly said one word: rest. Andre stared at her. "Rest?" She smiled sadly. "Just rest." The simplicity of her answer revealed more about her life than any long explanation could have. Andre realized how different their worlds truly were. His life overflowed with resources, yet peace remained elusive. Amara had almost nothing, yet all she wanted was the opportunity to breathe. One rainy evening, the restaurant was unusually quiet. Soft drops tapped against the windows. Only a handful of customers remained. Andre had already finished his meal, yet he showed no intention of leaving. Amara finally sat across from him. The simple action caught him completely off guard. "You're sitting," she laughed. "It's a slow night. Don't get used to it." For several moments, they simply listened to the rain. The silence felt comfortable, natural. Eventually, Amara studied him carefully. "You know, I don't actually know much about you." Andre looked away briefly. "You know enough." "No, I really don't. I don't even know your full name." He hesitated, then answered, "Andre." Amara tilted her head. "That sounds like the name of someone important." He smiled. "It's just a name." She clearly did not believe him. "Where do you live?" "Not far from here." "That's vague." "I like vague." Amara laughed. "You're hiding something." "Maybe." The honesty surprised both of them. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Amara became serious. "How am I supposed to trust someone who won't tell me who he really is?" The question struck deeper than she intended. Andre leaned forward slightly. What if knowing the truth changed everything? Then it matters. He sighed. That's exactly what worries me. Amara watched him carefully. For the first time, she realized there was pain behind his mystery. Not arrogance, not dishonesty. Pain. Then maybe I'll trust what I see. Her response surprised him. You would do that? Amara smiled. For now, days turned into weeks. Their connection deepened naturally. Neither tried to force it. Neither tried to define it. Yet both felt it growing. Andre began sharing more pieces of himself. Not everything, but enough. One evening, he admitted something he had never told anyone. I didn't choose my life. Amara nodded. Most people don't. The difference is that most people eventually accept it. Andre looked away. I don't think I can. Amara studied him. Yes, you can. You just don't want to. The observation startled him, because it was true. For Amara, things were changing too. She found herself listening for the restaurant door whenever business slowed. She noticed when Andre arrived late. She smiled more when he was around. That realization frightened her. One afternoon, a coworker noticed, "You're getting attached." Amara immediately denied it. Her coworker laughed. Your eyes tell a different story. Amara said nothing, because deep down she feared the same thing. One night after closing, she stepped outside and found Andre waiting near his car. The street was quiet. The city lights reflected across damp pavement. You're still here? Andre nodded. I wanted to see you. Amara's heartbeat instantly quickened. That's not a good idea. Why not? Because this isn't your world. Andre frowned. Who says it can't be? You don't understand. Then explain it. Amara looked away. People like you don't end up with people like me. The words sounded painful. Andre stepped closer. People like me? You know exactly what I mean. Actually, I don't. She sighed. You carry yourself differently. You talk differently. You live differently. Andre shook his head. None of that matters. You only think that because you're not the one who gets hurt. The honesty in her voice broke his heart. Andre moved closer. What if it doesn't end badly? Amara laughed softly. It always does. Not always. For a moment they stood beneath the streetlight in complete silence. Then Andre gently reached for her hand. Every instinct told Amara to pull away. She didn't. I'm not asking you to trust promises. I'm asking you to give me a chance. Amara's heart raced. She had spent years protecting herself from disappointment. Yet standing there beside him, those walls suddenly felt fragile. You don't even know me. I want to. The sincerity in his voice made it impossible to look away. Slowly, carefully, she nodded. Okay. Andre smiled, not the controlled smile he wore during meetings, not the polite smile he used during formal events. A real smile, the kind that reached his eyes. One chance? Amara nodded. One chance. Neither of them noticed the luxury vehicle parked across the street. Neither noticed the darkened windows slowly lowering. And neither realized that someone inside had just witnessed everything. Someone whose arrival would soon threaten the fragile happiness they had only just begun to build. For several weeks, Andre managed to keep his two lives separate. During the day, he remained the polished executive everyone expected him to be. He attended meetings, reviewed contracts, and represented his family's empire with confidence. By night, he became someone entirely different. He sat inside a small neighborhood restaurant, laughed more than he had in years, and discovered what it felt like to live without pretending. With Amara, life felt lighter. That was exactly why it became dangerous. At first, the secrecy seemed harmless. Andre convinced himself he would explain everything eventually. He would tell her about his family. He would tell her about the fortune. He would tell her about the expectations waiting for him. He simply needed more time. But time rarely protects secrets. Eventually, it exposes them. The first signs appeared at home. Andre began missing dinners. He rescheduled meetings. He rejected invitations he once accepted automatically. His father noticed immediately. One evening, Samuel called him into his study. The room felt exactly as it always had. Orderly, imposing, uncomfortable. You've been distracted. Andre remained calm. I've been busy. Samuel shook his head. I know what busy looks like. This isn't it. The conversation ended there, but the warning was clear. His mother noticed next. One morning during breakfast, she studied him carefully. You're different lately. Andre almost smiled. For the first time in years, he felt closer to being himself than ever before. I'm fine. Vanessa continued, watching him. Is there something you want to tell us? There was, but he remained silent. Meanwhile, his relationship with Amara continued to deepen. They spent time together outside the restaurant. Nothing extravagant, simple walks through quiet neighborhoods, conversations beneath city lights, shared meals from food vendors. Moments that cost almost nothing, yet felt priceless. One evening, they sat together on a weathered park bench beneath a flickering street lamp. The city hummed softly around them. Amara turned toward him. You still haven't told me the whole truth. Andre sighed. About what? About you, he smiled slightly. I told you I run a business. That's not everything. What makes you so sure? Amara laughed softly. Because nobody who just runs a business carries themselves the way you do. Nobody talks the way you do. Nobody hides this much. Andre looked down. She was right. Maybe it was finally time. I come from money. Amara nodded. I already guessed that. Andre smiled. I'm not surprised. But it's more than that. She waited patiently. My family expects me to take over everything someday. Everything? Andre looked toward the city skyline. A lot. Amara became quiet. Then she asked the question he feared most. Where do I fit into all of that? The words hit harder than any boardroom challenge, because he honestly didn't know. Not yet. You fit. Amara shook her head. That's not an answer. It's the only honest one I have right now. Her silence revealed disappointment. Not anger. Disappointment. Andre hated himself for causing it. You should probably go back to your world. The statement shocked him. I don't want to, but you belong there, do I? Amara looked away. The truth was complicated. Before either could continue, reality arrived. The following afternoon, Andre received a message from his father. Come to my office, immediately. The tone alone told him everything. When he entered, both parents were waiting. His father stood beside the window. His mother sat quietly nearby. Neither looked pleased. Sit down. Andre obeyed. We've been hearing things. Samuel's voice sounded calm. Too calm. Andre remained silent. You've been spending time somewhere unusual. Still silence. A small restaurant. His mother's voice followed. With a waitress. The room became very still. Andre finally spoke. Yes. Samuel turned sharply. A waitress? Yes. His father's disappointment became visible. You're embarrassing this family. Andre met his gaze. I'm living my life. You don't have that luxury. The response came instantly. His mother tried a softer approach. What exactly is this? A distraction? A phase? Andre answered without hesitation. No. Then what is it? The answer surprised even him. She matters to me. Silence crashed into the room. Samuel laughed bitterly. And what about Victoria? I don't love her. Love is irrelevant. Not to me. His father's expression darkened. You think this is about emotions? This is about responsibility, legacy, power. Andre's voice remained steady. What about happiness? Samuel shook his head. Happiness is a luxury. Responsibility comes first. Not anymore. The room seemed to freeze. Samuel stepped forward. You will end this relationship. No. The single word landed like thunder. You do not get to say no. I just did. Vanessa stood quickly. Andre, please think carefully. I have. You're throwing away everything for someone you barely know. I know enough. Samuel's patience finally broke. If you continue down this path, there will be consequences. Andre nodded. I know. You could lose everything. Then I lose everything. The answer shocked both parents. Even Andre felt its weight, because he meant every word. Vanessa looked heartbroken. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. That night, the mansion felt colder than ever. Andre skipped dinner, ignored calls, avoided everyone. Instead, he drove straight to Amara. The moment she saw him, she knew something was wrong. What happened? Andre looked directly into her eyes. They know about us. Amara's expression immediately changed. And they want me to leave you. Silence followed. Heavy, painful. I told you this would happen. That doesn't mean I'm listening. Amara looked away. You don't understand what this means. Then explain it. It means they'll blame me. It means they'll make your life difficult. I don't care. You should. Andre stepped closer. I choose you. Amara froze. The words felt too powerful, too dangerous. Don't say that unless you mean it. Andre didn't hesitate. I mean it. Tears immediately filled her eyes. Do you understand what you're risking? Yes. And you're still willing to do it? Yes. For several seconds, neither moved, neither spoke. Then Amara slowly reached for his hand. The gesture was small, yet it carried more meaning than any contract ever signed in his father's boardroom. Neither of them realized that a decision had already been made elsewhere, because while they stood together beneath the city lights, Samuel Okoro was preparing a choice that would change both of their lives forever. And by sunrise, Andre would be forced to decide between the fortune he inherited and the woman he loved. The decision did not arrive with shouting or dramatic threats. It came quietly, coldly, like a door closing forever. The following morning, the atmosphere inside the Okoro estate felt different. Staff members avoided eye contact. Conversations stopped whenever Andre entered a room. Everyone sensed something had changed. Andre already knew why. His father had made a choice. Now it was his turn. A firm knock echoed through his bedroom. Come in. The door opened. Samuel entered alone. That alone felt unusual. Most family discussions involved both parents. Today there was only his father, and there was no softness in his expression. Samuel stood near the doorway for several seconds before speaking. Have you made your decision? Andre looked directly at him. Yes. And it hasn't changed? No. Samuel nodded slowly. Good. The response surprised Andre. Good? His father folded his hands behind his back. It makes this conversation easier. A heavy silence filled the room. If you choose that woman, then you are choosing a life outside this family. Andre remained calm. I understand. No. Samuel stepped forward. You don't. For 30 years, everything you have comes from this family. The house, the education, the opportunities, the future. Andre nodded. I know. And you think you can simply walk away from all of it? Yes. The answer came instantly. Too instantly. Samuel's jaw tightened. You are being naive. You think love will feed you? You think feelings will build a future? Andre refused to look away. I'm willing to find out. For several moments, neither spoke. Then Samuel delivered the ultimatum. If you leave this house today, every account bearing your name will be frozen. You will lose access to family resources. You will lose your position within the company. You will lose your inheritance. Every word landed heavily, yet Andre remained silent. Then came the final blow. And you will no longer be my son. The room became painfully still. For a brief moment, pain flashed across Andre's face. Then determination replaced it. Slowly, quietly, completely. Then I'll go. Samuel stared at him, searching for hesitation, searching for doubt, finding neither. You would throw away everything for a waitress? Andre shook his head. I'm not throwing away everything. I'm choosing something better. The answer ended the conversation. Samuel turned toward the door. Without looking back, he spoke one final sentence. When you realize your mistake, don't expect anything waiting for you here. Then he left. The room suddenly felt larger and strangely lighter. Andre stood motionless for several minutes. The magnitude of what had happened settled around him. His entire future had just changed. Yet beneath the fear existed something unexpected. Relief. For the first time in his life, the decision belonged entirely to him. He packed only what he needed: a small travel bag, several changes of clothes, personal items. Nothing more. As he walked through the mansion, memories followed him. Childhood birthdays, academic achievements, family celebrations, business victories. A lifetime carefully constructed. A lifetime he was leaving behind. Staff members watched quietly as he crossed the grand entrance hall. Nobody tried to stop him. At the front door, he paused briefly, not because he doubted himself, because he understood the weight of the moment. Then he stepped outside, and just like that, Okoro walked away from a fortune worth billions. No security detail followed, no assistants waited nearby, no safety net remained, only freedom. The drive to Amara felt different, not like an escape, like a beginning. When he arrived, she had just finished her shift. The exhaustion on her face disappeared the moment she saw him. Then concern replaced it. "Something's wrong." Andre nodded. "I left." Amara frowned. "Left where? Home?" The color drained from her face. "What?" "They gave me a choice. And I chose you." Silence crashed between them. Amara stared at him in disbelief. "You're serious?" "Yes." "No." She shook her head repeatedly. "You shouldn't have done that." "I wanted to." "Andre," her voice trembled, "you don't understand what you've given up." "I do." "No, you really don't." For the first time, fear appeared in her eyes. Not fear of him. Fear for him. "You had everything." Andre stepped closer. "Not everything." Amara looked away. "And now what?" The question lingered. Andre smiled slightly. "Now I figure things out." "With what money?" The question caught him off guard. For the first time since leaving home, reality revealed itself. His accounts were gone. His position was gone. Everything was gone. "I'll manage." Amara immediately recognized uncertainty behind the answer. "You don't know how difficult this will be." "Then I'll learn." Tears formed in her eyes. "Why would you do this?" "Because I love you." The words left both of them speechless. Andre had never said them aloud before, not to her, not to anyone. The city seemed to disappear around them. For several seconds, only silence remained. Then Amara slowly stepped forward. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "You're a fool." Andre smiled. "I've heard worse." She laughed through tears. "You just made my life much more complicated." "I know, and I don't even know if this will work." "Neither do I." Another pause. Then Amara took his hand. "But you're here." "Yes, and you chose this." "I did." She nodded slowly. "Then we'll figure it out together." That night, Andre did not return to luxury. He rented a tiny room in an aging building across town. The mattress was thin, the walls were cracked. The room barely fit a bed and a chair. Yet when he lay down that night, he felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Not because life had become easier, because for the first time he was living a life he had chosen. What neither Andre nor Amara realized was that their greatest challenge had not begun yet. The sacrifice had been easy. The survival that followed would test their love in ways neither could imagine. The first few days of Andre's new life felt almost unreal. Each morning, he woke up in a small rented room and needed several seconds to remember where he was. The mansion was gone. The luxury was gone. The certainty was gone. Only Amara remained, and somehow that made everything feel worth it. The room he rented could barely fit his belongings. A narrow bed occupied most of the space. A small window overlooked a busy street. The ceiling fan rattled constantly. Nothing about the place resembled the life he had known. Yet Andre never complained. At first, he believed adapting would be easy. He had always been intelligent, disciplined, capable. Surely he could build a new life. Reality proved otherwise. Finding work became far more difficult than he expected. Without the Okoro name attached to him, people saw someone entirely different. He walked into offices carrying confidence and determination. He left carrying rejection. Again, and again, and again. Potential employers asked about experience. Andre possessed decades of business knowledge. Yet explaining it without revealing his identity became nearly impossible. Some employers believed he was exaggerating. Others assumed he was hiding something. Most simply declined. "We'll contact you." Nobody ever did. By the end of the first week, Andre learned a painful lesson. The world respected success. It rarely respected potential. Meanwhile, Amara watched the changes happening inside him. At first, he maintained the confidence she admired. His posture remained strong. His voice remained steady. His smile remained genuine. But little by little, exhaustion appeared. His shoulders seemed heavier. His eyes carried worry. His laughter became less frequent. One evening, they sat outside her apartment building beneath fading sunlight. "Did you find anything today?" Andre shook his head. "Not yet." Amara forced a smile. "You will." "I hope so." The uncertainty in his voice worried her. She had never heard it before. For Amara, life remained difficult as well. She continued working long hours, continued counting every dollar, continued sacrificing comfort for survival. The difference was that now she worried about someone else, too. One afternoon, she handed Andre a small bag filled with groceries. "Take this." Andre frowned. "You need it more." "No, you do." "I'm fine." Amara crossed her arms. "Stop saying that." Andre looked away. For several seconds, neither spoke. Finally, he admitted the truth. "I'm not used to this." The confession felt painful. Amara softened immediately. "I know." Andre lowered his head. Not the hunger, not the uncertainty, not wondering what happens tomorrow. His voice grew quieter. "I don't regret choosing you, but this is harder than I expected." Amara nodded. Life usually is. The honesty comforted him. She wasn't pretending things were easy. She wasn't promising miracles. She was simply standing beside him. And somehow that mattered. Several minutes passed before Andre spoke again. "Sometimes I feel like I'm failing." Amara turned toward him. "You're not. I can't even provide for myself right now. How am I supposed to build a future? Because you're still standing." The answer surprised him. "That's not enough." "Maybe not, but it's where strength begins." Andre studied her face. "Why are you always so certain?" Amara smiled gently. "Because every day you wake up and keep trying. Most people quit long before that." The words stayed with him. Every day after that. Slowly, Andre changed his approach. Instead of relying on who he used to be, he focused on who he was becoming. He stopped expecting recognition, stopped expecting special treatment, stopped expecting shortcuts. He accepted temporary jobs, basic work, ordinary responsibilities, the kind of opportunities he once overlooked without a second thought. Each experience taught him something new, about effort, about humility, about survival, most importantly, about people. One evening, rain poured heavily across the city. Electricity failed throughout several neighborhoods. Amara's apartment sat in darkness except for a single candle placed between them. The small flame illuminated their faces while rain struck the windows. Andre stared at the candlelight. "This isn't the life I imagined." Amara smiled softly. "Me neither." Yet neither sounded unhappy. Andre surprised himself with what he said next. "I don't hate it." Amara laughed. "Really? It's difficult. It's exhausting. It's frustrating. But it's real." The word lingered. Real. No pretending, no performance, no expectations, just honesty. Amara studied him quietly. "Then what are you now?" Andre thought carefully. "Someone who's learning." The answer made her smile. That's not a bad thing to be. Outside, the storm continued. Inside, warmth filled the small room. Not because they possessed wealth, not because life had become easy, because they had each other. For a while, that felt like enough. Neither realized that elsewhere in the city, someone was closely watching their struggles, someone gathering information, someone preparing to make a move. And within days, a visitor would arrive at Amara's restaurant, carrying words powerful enough to destroy everything they had fought so hard to build. Struggle had slowly become part of daily life. What once felt temporary now felt normal. Andre and Amara had learned how to survive with less. They learned how to stretch small victories into hope. They learned how to face uncertainty together. What they did not know was that someone had been watching the entire time. Vanessa Okoro was not a woman who relied on luck. While Samuel ruled through authority and force, Vanessa preferred patience and precision. She observed. She gathered information. She waited until the right moment, and now she believed that moment had arrived. For weeks, she quietly investigated Andre's new life. She learned where he lived. She learned where Amara worked. She learned how difficult their circumstances had become. Every detail reinforced her belief. Her son was suffering. Not because he lacked character, not because he lacked determination, because he had chosen a life that was never meant for him. At least, that was how she saw it. One afternoon, a black luxury vehicle stopped across the street from the restaurant. Vanessa remained inside for several minutes, watching. Through the window, she observed Amara moving between tables. She noticed the exhaustion hidden behind her smile, the long hours, the endless effort, the difficult reality. Eventually, Vanessa stepped out of the car. The moment she entered the restaurant, the atmosphere subtly shifted. She carried herself differently from everyone else. Her confidence drew attention without demanding it. Amara immediately noticed her. "Good afternoon, what can I get for you?" Vanessa studied her carefully. "You're Amara." The statement caught her off guard. Amara hesitated. "How do you know my name?" Vanessa ignored the question. "Please sit." Something about her tone made refusal impossible. Reluctantly, Amara sat across from her. "My name is Vanessa Okoro." The world seemed to stop. Amara instantly understood. Andre's mother, the woman she had always known, would eventually appear, the woman she had quietly feared. Vanessa folded her hands calmly. "So, this is the woman my son gave up everything for." The words sounded polite, yet they carried tremendous weight. Amara remained composed. "I suppose so." Vanessa leaned forward slightly. "Do you understand what has happened because of you?" Amara felt her heart tighten. "I didn't force him to do anything." "No." Vanessa nodded. "You didn't. But you didn't stop him either." The statement struck harder than Amara expected. Still, she refused to back down. "That wasn't my decision to make." Vanessa smiled faintly. "Everything involving my son is my concern. Everything involving my life is mine." For the first time, Vanessa seemed impressed. "You're bold. I'm honest." Several seconds passed, then Vanessa changed tactics. "My son is struggling." The words landed heavily, because Amara knew they were true. Every rejection, every disappointment, every sleepless night. She had witnessed all of it. Vanessa continued, "He was raised for more than this. He had a future, a responsibility, a purpose." Amara lowered her eyes. Part of her agreed. Vanessa noticed immediately. "You care about him." Amara nodded. "Then do what's best for him." Amara slowly looked up. "And what exactly is that?" Vanessa answered without hesitation. "Leave him." The words felt like a physical blow. Amara froze. Her heartbeat pounded loudly inside her chest. Vanessa continued speaking. "He will never ask you to leave. He's too stubborn, too loyal, too committed. But look at what this life is doing to him. Look at what he's becoming." Tears threatened to appear in Amara's eyes. She fought them back. "You're not his future." Vanessa's voice softened. "You're the obstacle standing in front of it." The sentence shattered something inside her, because it echoed fears she had already been carrying. Fear that Andre deserved more, fear that she was holding him back, fear that love alone might not be enough. Then Vanessa reached into her purse. She placed a thick envelope on the table. Amara stared at it. "Take it." "No." The answer came immediately. Vanessa seemed unsurprised. "Use it to start over somewhere else." "No." Her voice grew stronger. "I won't take your money." Vanessa nodded slowly. "Pride won't help either of you." "It's not pride." "Then what is it?" Amara's voice trembled. "It's love." For the first time, silence settled between them. Vanessa looked at her differently, not with approval, not with kindness, but with understanding. "Then prove it." Amara's stomach dropped, because she already knew what came next. "If you truly love him, let him go." The words wrapped around her heart like chains. Vanessa stood. "Right now, you're the reason he's suffering." That sentence broke through every defense she had. Tears finally escaped. Quietly, painfully. Because she had watched Andre struggle. She had seen the frustration, the exhaustion, the disappointment. And although he never blamed her, she blamed herself. Vanessa gathered her purse. "I don't expect you to like me. I don't expect you to agree with me. But if you truly love my son, you'll think about what I've said." Then she walked away, leaving the envelope untouched, leaving Amara alone, leaving behind a decision that felt impossible. That night, Amara sat alone inside her apartment. The city outside continued moving as usual. Cars passed, people laughed, music drifted through open windows. Yet her world felt completely still, every memory replayed inside her mind. Andre's smile, his sacrifices, his determination, his love. Then came the image she could not escape. Andre struggling, Andre suffering, Andre losing everything. Say, because of her. The thought repeated endlessly. Hours passed, tears came and went. By dawn, exhaustion replaced emotion. And somewhere during that long, painful night, Amara made a decision. Not because she wanted to, because she believed she had no other choice. The next morning, before the city fully woke, she began packing. And with every item she placed into her bag, she moved one step closer to breaking both their hearts.